Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Mew Legend. My name is Wilfred, and I think if I continue making this sort of video, I have to create a new playlist for this game, Mew Legend. Now, I really not expecting myself to put in too much time on this game because as for any free-to-play game, I always a little bit cautious these days. And also, looking at the shop itself, there are some kind of pay to win kind of things I think that they sell. But having said that, I'm also approaching this game in a kind of like open mind kind of to it, like, you know, perhaps I don't need to get to really the end game and see if I can just enjoy the game as a free-to-play aspect of it. And who knows, if one day I'm kind of interested to put in some money, maybe I get some cosmetic items. I'm not entirely sure, but you know, this game is kind of growing on me. The rift that you see here is a group kind of like you know, play, and it's not easy because I've done a few rifts and I've recorded a few as well. I think that require group coordination, and my success rate right now is just half. So half the time I go into rift, I will just fail. The group unable to take down the boss, and the another half of the time I'll win. But I also realized that even when the time that I fail for the rift, I'm always the last man standing in the group. So I don't know whether I've done something right or wrong, but it just shows that it is kind of a very challenging game in some sense. So now I'm playing a ranger, which is called Whisperer. In the Whisperer, there's a bit of like AoE kind of like thing that you see here, and I kind of draw a lot of aggro. I don't know whether there's a tank class or not, because I would thought that the tank would help me tank some of these items or mobs around, but not really. I end up kiting the big group into the other side because I think the group somehow split up, which I don't think we should have, but it just shows that in any pickup group you have different personality and different type of people, you know, following different people and stuff like that. So all in all, I mean, you know, I'm playing a ranger, and I think there is a wizard somewhere. I don't know what is it called because I don't really play that class, and there is some kind of like dark knight, I think, and also there's another barbarian and whatnot. So and by the way, there's also a new class that is under development, which the one that I very much would like to play, like sorcerer, I think. But you know, it's kind of very interesting in the sense that I think the tank or the melee class are supposed to group the mobs together, and I somehow have the power to sort of like drag the mobs into a place because somehow they just drawn to me. Maybe it's just the aggro, I'm not quite sure, like, you know, all this aggro going on. But there's also some ability that the group has that spread the mobs around like an explosion or whatnot, which I thought a little bit annoying because I would like the mobs to be grouped together, not like spread across like this one. Although my multi-shot kind of hit everything looking back at the footage itself. But yeah, I mean, it is rather challenging. If I am not using the T button, by the way, is evasion, so I could actually you know, increase my movement time, evade and stuff like that. So that is yeah, I mean, that's what I do, and there's a whole lot of like loot there, by the way. I think there's some currency. I still haven't figured out what the currency does, and I'm pretty sure that it is something for end game or something like that. I do not know. But you know, all in all, you know, the dungeon is rather interesting. I can never tell, by the way. Some of them are story related. So and you're supposed to do something in the dungeon to complete a story sometimes. But I realized that the rift itself, even if I revisit it, because sometimes I fail, right? And I fail, you have to revisit again. And the dungeon just look different as well, and the bosses are looking different. So whether the story actually whether the dungeon actually related to the story, I do not know. But it doesn't seem to be, in a sense, because like I could do a dungeon, you know, I get defeated, and you know, I revisit a dungeon again, it looked different. But I'm okay with that kind of like a randomness to it. Or maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I just like, there's so many rifts, it's very hard to remember which one is which. But yeah, I mean overall it's kind of fun time. And also I realized that whether a group will succeed or not, depending very much on the combat power of the group. So you can see that I don't know how you read it, is that COMB is what the combat power I think is 22,000. So if I move my mouse over the rest of the players, some of them could be higher, some of them could be lower. But in general, if your group is having kind of like someone who's kind of low in terms of the combat power, at least from a leveling perspective, I realize that it's very hard to carry. It's almost quite impossible to carry. And when there's melee as well, who doesn't kind of kite around or dodge around, normally they would die quite fast in the boss time. I've met some good melee though, by the way, those melee who are able to sustain the kind of like a boss damage or being able to dodge a little bit. They usually do it quite well, but those is very rare to see. So it's just one of those things that it requires a little bit of skill to play this game. And sometimes when you're in the group, all these are random pickup group, I don't really, sometimes it's just half succeed and half fail. It kind of remind me of the good old World of Warcraft days whereby people don't quite understand the whole mechanic of it. I mean, even I myself was learning. I think in my last video it was a boss fight that I could have done a little bit differently, which you will see in this video that I will try to revive someone. But by the way, this is what I meant. I'm actually like kind of like try to group the mobs together in the same place. Try not to kite it. I mean, I'll kite it in a circle, making sure that at least the melee class doesn't need to run too far, and somehow there's another echo somewhere. But yeah, I mean, just a bit of awareness, and I'm still learning the game as well. I think the fun part comes on the point whereby you can actually get better as you play more about the game, on how to coordinate with the team and so on. So yeah, I mean that is one thing good about it. They are just level or someone else. By the way, level 25 there is I think mastery or I don't know whether subclass or not. There's a further customization on the character, but somehow I have to do some questing, which I did not manage to find out how yet. But it's just one of those quests that I need to do, and I'm trying to sort of like revisit some of the maps to get this quest done, and so on. And yeah. So now it's the boss time, and you see this fight is rather like exciting. It's actually very exciting on this part, because if the party is wiped, unless someone has a resurrection stone that require, it's a premium item, so people have to buy for it. The encounter just fail. That's it. There's no loot, or there's no objective completion. So now it just the boss fight usually have a little bit of trash mob to it. Nothing too dramatic, but somehow I think it would have been nice if people just focus on clearing off everything. But as you know, in any online game, there are always some people who are a little bit impatient. So I think looking back, it's good to echo the boss when you clear off all this mob. But I think we have a tank who just insists on going into it. And yeah, we'll see how they turn out, and you'll see. And this is the boss. Now, one thing good about Mute Legend is that the boss are huge. You can clearly see what happened to the one man died, by the way. You can clearly see what happened to what the boss is doing. There's no excuse like, oh, I cannot see the boss, and like Marvel Heroes, for example, sometimes you can't really see what the boss is doing. It's fantastic. The boss is so huge, you can't miss all the encounter, where he's facing, what is he going to do next. And as for this boss, it's not as annoying as the other one. This one is the one that keeps charging, and it doesn't really one-shot you too bad, and it doesn't really leave a lot of bad stuff on the ground. So, by the way, the team is still struggling to clear off the loose mob, and that's exactly what I meant. Sometimes it's good to just clear off the little mobs first before engaging the boss. Because a lot of time when you start the boss, there was some kind of like enrage timer to it from my experience. So some will leave, some bosses will leave things on the ground. So the longer the fight drag to, the harder it become. Or it can just be an enrage timer at the end. So that's from experience. So now I think one guy get resurrected, and resurrection take about 10 seconds. I think you have to stand on the person itself to get resurrected. So now I think the team is trying very hard to DPS on the boss. I think my DPS is still quite okay, and you will see that you know, later on it will get a little bit more challenging. So and you see that the boss does a couple of things. It smashes the ground, it does the charge that you're supposed to get out of the way, and then after that it charge again, and after that it do some melee kind of damage. So yeah, I mean, people been you know, if you can dodge it's good, but then when you dodge you can't really do DPS, so you end up dodging and not playing DPS, and the boss fight is still continuing on. I nearly died over there, by the way. I didn't see that smash on the ground, and I was like running out a little bit on space. So, but there's health ops. So one guy died, another guy died as well. So 2 men down so far. This is, I think, it's a stage 2 whereby it does the circle thing on the ground. So 2 men die, and by right, you know, the guy is supposed to resurrect the people. So I'm trying to do what I learned in the past to get the boss out from the group so that the group can resurrect. And you know, looking back, I think I've done a pretty good job in trying to lure the boss out in the way. So it's only I'm there, and there is you know, 2 other people, and I do not know at this stage what the other 2 people were doing. But you know, in a textbook kind of like a scenario, if you have 2 people resting 2 people, it just should be 10 seconds. So I'm like wondering, why is it taking so long? And I'm doing all my best to get a boss, and I see this guy here. I say, look dude, you have to go back there. So I was a little bit disappointed about why it's not revived. So I'm trying to do a revive here, and I got charged. And I mean, you know, I really don't know what to do, because I can only do one thing at a time. Either I lure the boss away or I resurrect people. So I thought okay, fine, you know, that guy probably know what I'm doing, because I'm trying to resurrect or revive. And there are some people typing there as well, as you can see on the screen. So I thought, okay, 10 seconds should be, you know, I'll do another. And I see the guy again. I said, no, dude, go back. What are you doing? Oh man. So I don't know. I mean, I just ran back, and I start to revive the furthest one first. It's 10 seconds, right? So I got charged here, and I move away. I try the other guy, right? And I was holding my breath, and that guy, I don't know, he's drawing the boss onto me. So I saved one guy, and I'm going to save the other guy as well. So I think, you know, if we are to win this fight, I think I may have just say that I've contributed quite a fair bit on that thing here. So okay, so I revived my party. Now it's 4 against the boss, and I think you know, the rest of it just wearing the boss you know, kind of health down. But now we have 4 people. It's a lot easier than having just the 2 of us, while one is trying to like get the boss out, the other is trying to like revive and stuff like that. So now the rest of people, I don't know, they are trying to do something. I would think it's rather hard for the melee, because yeah, rather hard for the melee, because it's very hard to get to that part. And I think one guy have left the dungeon, maybe because he's trying to ask like how can he fight again. So I don't know. Did I see him? I see one guy there. Ash is there. So I think you know, my suggestion is that when you get defeated in a boss fight, just lie there, just like World of Warcraft. Just lie there and don't, like, you know, don't release, because otherwise you lose opportunity. Okay, so now one guy died, but I think he just said that we will focus on killing the boss, which I think it was the right kind of like a move. and that's exactly what we're trying to do. And the boss is getting really close, and I look at my damage meter, so I think I've done pretty alright, given the fact that yeah, I'm not really the really high level compared to the rest. So okay, so it's a bit of yeah, so I've done it. So that's all. I got an A for the effort, and I managed to pick a card whereby it is it's a green item. So I think that's well rewarded in some sense, and I try to rest the guy as well. I mean, just to be nice. So yeah, so as you can see, the dungeon or the rift can be really challenging. It depends on your group as well. If the group is experienced to do the right thing with the rest, with the DPS and stuff like that, that would be yeah, that would be it. I'm still 26, so I would try to sort of like just casually playing to see how far I can go. And now I have a mount, by the way, it's free. Requested that, so you don't need to buy a mount, so that's really good. So that's all from me, and as when I do a little bit more on this game, I may just like show. I'll just post more videos on that, and let me know in the comments box below how your journey so far with Mew Legend. I think there's some potential there. It does kind of like make me want to log in from time to time to just progress, and that's nice. It's always nice to get the feeling of wanting to play a game, and and I hope it's not getting too addictive. And in some sense, by the way, I got new items for the chest item that make my character looks a little bit different. So I think in just a bit, I'm trying to see what other loot I have. It's kind of a little bit hard to understand all these stats right now. But yeah, this is my character, and do link me up. I'm on the Southeast Asia server. Alright, see you next time. Goodbye.